Hello everybody, welcome to Robert's Train Set. What we're going to do this time is concerns this loco here, a class 47 by Hornby, a railroad one, and the Daypole class 52 Western that I introduced to you last time. So, what do I want to do to these locos? The first one is the Western. I want to explain the problems I have with it being a lock sound decoder. I have documented it before, but I'll do it again. But first we're going to start with the Hornby Railroad 47. That was one of my original locos that came with a Majestic train set. I fitted sound into this when I first got it, and it's been my worst performing sound loco that I've got. It's very quiet and not very nice sound, and it's just overawed by anything else that I might want to turn up. So I'm going to relocate and we'll show you what it's like as it is at the moment. So here we are. It's a striking loco. I mean, it's it's very simple being railroad, but it holds its own. It looks okay running around the layout. It is obviously a rubber tired loco, like a few I've got on the fleet, but it does its job as long as you don't ask it to do too much. So anyway, let's give it a start up, and I'll give it a cold start as well. So you think to yourselves, well, that didn't sound too bad, it's quite loud. Yes, it's a bit weedy, agreed, it's not got the throat of a 47. But in isolation, of course, everything sounds reasonably okay, doesn't it? And bearing in mind the camera and the microphone are literally about 9 inches away, I'll put it into context, but I'll start up my 47 Colas rail freight locomotive, which is the other side of the layout, which has a Hornby TTS decoder in it, and basically identical to what's in this. And we'll see what happens when I do that. So again with a cold start. So again, not a very throaty sound, and I might even put one of these speakers that I've got to try and do this into that as well. But we'll see how we get on. So I'll just move this off down the track, and we'll just listen to it running away. As you see, that was very quiet. Let's see if we can improve that by just sending it off to a higher speed. In essence, no. So here we are on the bench, and you might wonder why those buffers are there. When I got this, obviously I was very inexperienced. I'd not owned a model railway for 40 years or so, and I didn't quite know. So when I tried to get the body off of this, it wouldn't come off. And you actually have to take the buffers out because they go into holes in the chassis, which lock the body on. So I managed to break a few because not realising, and I got some replacements, as you can see. So I take them out, and I'll keep them out. I won't keep putting them back in. So the body comes off similar to the 66 of a few days ago, although funnily enough with this one, if you do it this end it comes off, and if you try it this end it won't. So there we are, the inside of the loco, and it is very, very simple. There's a big weight here to give it a bit of weight, but it's not particularly heavy. And in this particular one I haven't added any weight to it. And as you can see, here's the speaker, and it's a pretty weedy thing to be true, isn't it? So I think what I'll do is I'll just stick it on the track again and start it up, and we'll see if it makes any difference without the body on. So again, we're right close up to the loco, and I'll just give it a start. Not a cold start, just a normal start. So as we saw from that last little demonstration, taking the body off does make a difference to the sound, or the loudness of the sound. What am I proposing to do? I'm going to replace this speaker, the original one, with this little sugar cube. Now, I got those from Roads and Rails, and I bought 5 because you got one free. I may have made a mistake. I should have perhaps bought the mega bass ones that Alan at Dragon Junction uses. But for the time being I'm going to try these. So I'm going to fit one to it and see if it makes any difference. And there is always the alternative in this particular case to fit 2. So I'm going to see how we get on. So I'm going to cut the wires and connect it off camera, because you know it's connect 2 wires. And as far as I understand, it doesn't really matter what way you do them round, but as there appears to be coloured wires going to it, I shall keep the same colours. So I hope you can see that I have now got this little speaker sitting in the loco. It's tiny. And I've done a bit of a Heath Robinson connection because I may want to connect 2. So I've done no soldering. I do have I have newly acquired some heat shrink so that I can keep it safe when I do the final installation. So I'm going to put this on the layout and we'll see what it sounds like. I'm expecting it to be very quiet. We'll see how we go. So here we are on the track again, and I've left the body off, and we'll just see what it sounds like. Let's see if there's any improvement, shall we? I'll do a cold start again. Just send it down the tracks again. Hello everybody. So after that demonstration, you won't be surprised to hear that I've decided to have two little speakers in the same loco. So I'm now finalising the wiring, and I've already done the black with soldered the wires together and put some heat shrink over it. So I just thought I'd show you here, and I don't know if you can see it, I know it's very small. So the two red wires from the two speakers I've put together with the heat shrink over it. I then twined the wires together with the wire from the decoder, and I'm just, excuse my arm, I'm just about to get my trusty soldering iron, put a bit of solder on it. Peter Dixon's very neat at soldering from what I've seen. We'll go up. Anyway, hopefully that will suffice to put this sleeve over the cable, which has gone better than the first one. I had to use my pliers to actually make it a bit smaller. And then you just bring in the heat from the soldering iron. I assume you can use other things if they're handy. I don't know, but this seems to work. And just hold it against the sleeve, and then it shrinks. So I think the danger here that you go too near to the actual wires and melt the sleeve around the actual wires, which isn't probably a good idea. It is going. I'm surprised actually. This is the first time I've ever done this, so I am surprised how long it takes to actually shrink. Maybe my soldering iron isn't hot enough, but that is working. So I'm happy with that, I think. What I've decided to do, if I can, and I had to release the decoder because the wires were just not long enough, and I'd like to put the speakers in this position here. Hello everybody, I apologise for the noise outside. I think somebody's doing some work, always away. I just want to show you something. I think I've been a little bit greedy here, and I'd just like to show you something. So if I set the loco forwards, as you can see, it runs. No problem. I'll bring it back. So I have actually reset this to the factory setting, and then obviously changed the number again, because I have a problem. And I'll pan in, and as you saw, I've fitted the two speakers, done hopefully a neat installation job, and this is the problem I'm getting. I try and start it, and this isn't a cold start, this is just a start. I'll put it out of its misery. As you can see, it starts and then cuts out and starts. Now if I go back out again and I start the locomotive moving, so as you can see, it's going very slowly. Now see what happens if I try and turn the sound on. Lovely. And as you saw, it rolled okay once the sound was on. So all I can assume is that I'm overloading the decoder, and it's cutting out as it's meant to do. So I need to have a look inside and see if there's anything I need to do. So never straightforward, is it? Never straightforward. So I tried various things to alleviate it, like I wondered whether because the speakers were forced in between the chassis right close together they were affecting it. So I took them out and kept them loose. Still the same problem, although slightly improved, but no better. So I've cut one speaker off, and I'm going to have to settle for this one. And as you can see, I've installed it in a different way. I want the sound to go forward to where the motor is, because that is the most open part of the locomotive. So I've done it on edge, and I didn't want to trap the cables to the bogies, so I made a little bridge out of the sticky foam, and I've stuck it on, and I can't see that it should be a problem. So I'm going to stick the body on and we'll give it a little run. So I'm now going to have to be satisfied with what I've done. It would have been nice to have the two speakers because it did really boost the sound. As I live in a terraced house with neighbours both sides, having mega sounds like Alan gets and Peter Dixon might not be too prudent. So as long as I can hear the loco running round and it sounds reasonably well, it's still a little bit weedy, I will agree. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it a cold start, as we have before, and you can listen to it. And I believe that when I did a reset on this, it will have also reduced the sound volume that I had originally. Now I've been back into the decoder settings to try and reset it up a bit higher, and I can't actually get them to be read. So I don't quite know what's happened there. And it doesn't actually show any readings where you would expect them to be. So these decoders are a mystery sometimes. So just to put this into context, I've got the Hattons 66 parked behind, as you can see. So I'm just going to start her up and we can compare. I think you'd agree with me that the Hattons is reasonably the best sounding loco from a standard manufacturer that we can get. And although it's certainly a better tone of sound, I can, where I am standing, which is behind the camera, hear both of these locos ticking over. So I don't think you would have heard that on the original speaker, and it would have been a lot weedier, wouldn't it? So I'm now just going to send the loco round on a circuit of the layout. So, what do I think? Was it worth getting new speakers for this? Absolutely. I can actually now hear it. I would have loved to have had the twin speakers, but as you saw, the decoder won't stand it. I believe that this decoder in this locomotive is one of the first ones that they bought out, and this is actually the second decoder that was fitted to this locomotive, as the first one burnt out because I was told I turned it up full. So I went up to from 4, which is what it was set at factory, to 8, and this burnt the decoder out. Now I've been running this loco on 8 on the second decoder for a long time, and it hasn't burnt out, touch wood. But I was concerned that with doing the 2 speakers I would burn the decoder out, which is why I reset it. I'm assuming that when I did that, it reset the sound values to what they were from the factory, which would have been about 4. I would turn it up a bit if I could actually access to do that, but it doesn't. My system seems to have wobblies in it, and I don't seem to be able to do that. I did try. So I'm happy with what I've got. I think the speakers give a better sound, and the fact that I could hear it over the 66, Hattons 66, and the Bachmann 37 with a TTS decoder in it, which is a noisier engine anyway, I'm happy. So, and as I say, I'm in a loft, in a terrace, and I don't want to scare all my neighbours. So that's the end of this bit, and we're now going on to do a brief explanation of why I've got a problem with the class 52 day pole Western, because it's got a lock sound decoder in it. Well, hello everybody. I'm just stuck this on the end. This is a couple of days after I filmed the last lot, and as I said, when I was trying to change the sound values, which are set out in the Hornby sound manual that comes with the decoders. As we said before, this is a fantastic little bit of information. I was saying you're supposed to be able to set the CV sound values from CV 161 onwards down to about CV 180. And when I tried to read the loco when it was on the programming track, it wouldn't actually read them. So I had a thought about it, and I thought, can I go down, even though it's not showing anything on 161, could I go in and change, put a higher value in? Now I was assuming when we did the last bit of what you've just seen, it was at 4, which is what it's done for the default. So I've raised it up to 7 now, and it seemed to read it and write it and normally, you know. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to start the 47, the Hattons 66 and the Daypole 52 all at once with the camera on them, and you can actually hear all 3 locos starting up. So I think I've managed to. I don't want to put it at 8 because I might burn it out, but at 7 it seemed okay. So I'll just show you that, and then this really will be finished. Well, this bit of it will be finished. So I'm going to give the 47 a cold start. The Hattons does it anyway, I think, and the 52 sort of does it as well. So I'm going to turn the 47 on first, then the Hattons, and the Daypole 52 will come on automatically because they're both the same numbers. So I didn't think I'd try talking over that lot, but as you can see, I think this 47 is now holding its own even against the Hattons. The Western's actually on the main line, so it's a bit further away. So to give you an idea, we're about, I would say about 14 inches or so away from the locos with this camera setup. Probably a bit more because the microphone's a bit further back. But yeah, I thought that's a result. So, and that's obviously with still this single speaker. So it's certainly worth the upgrade, is what I'd say. So we'll now carry on to the 52 problems. So here's the Daypole Class 52 Western that you saw in last week's introductory video, and it's a nice loco, absolutely. But as I said in that, I have a problem with locomotives with lock sound decoders in, which are a very nice decoder. Nothing wrong with the decoders. The problem is in my Railmaster or my E-Link system, and it just seems not to be able to send out the signal to turn lights on in the function naught. So why have I got a problem? It will send that signal out when it's in the factory setting of 3. So if I want the locos to work properly, I need to leave them in factory setting 3. And as I have 3 of them now, I have this Daypole, I have a Bachmann 101 DMU, and also the Hattons 66, all extensively on the same operation number. Now Railmaster, in its wisdom, will not allow you to have more than one loco with the said number. So the way over this usually, obviously, is to give them a new number, and I can't do that because then the lights won't work. It does seem to be just the function naught. This has got front lights which are operated on naught along with the head code, but the back light, which is as minuscule as the front light, is another number, as is the cab lights. And that is the same with the Hattons, and also the same with the 101. It's only function naught that gives the problem. So I'm going to put this loco down now because it is quite heavy when you hold it up like this for a long time, although not as heavy as the Hattons, but it's a lot heavier than the 47 we've just been playing with. So when I only had 2, which was the 101 and the Hattons, the way I overcame it was I left the Hattons 66 on the system as number 3 with all its functions in. And when I wanted to operate the 101 DMU, I first of all needed to make sure that the Hattons wasn't on a live bit of track, so I'd either take it off or put it on an isolated bit of track, which I do have in the fiddle yard. And as you might always see, the DMU is parked over there in its base station, and that is isolated so that there's no power going to it. So the way I operated the 101 when I wanted to was I used this little list that I drew up, which are the function numbers that operate the ones in that. Totally different to the 66. So how have I overcome this? So what I've done is obviously I've left all these locos at factory setting 3. And if I use them all on 3, they're all going to go all at the same time, which I have done it once, and it does work, but obviously the functions do different things, so you get funny anomalies, shall we say. So I've decided that I'm going to change the number in Railmaster for each loco I want to use, and it is quite an easy operation in Railmaster. It's basically a few clicks on the mouse, change the number, and hey presto, you can use that loco. Now the locos, if they're still on the track, they will still all respond to that number. And what I do is I just change those numbers as I need to. Now you need 4 numbers. I've got 3 locos. You need 4 numbers, so you can take one number off and put it onto another one and have a free one, so you can then put a 3 on it. Because obviously if you've got one set at 3 and then try and change the next loco you want to use to 3, the system won't allow it. It'll delete one. I don't really want to change my control system. I like Railmaster and the E-Link and having it on the computer. Everything's in front of you. I've got a very bad memory, and I would not remember numbers of logos or whatever. And punching loads of buttons all the time, I don't like it. I like using the mouse, and it does my points, it does my signals, and all the function numbers. Well, most of them. I have in the back of my mind a way out of this, but I won't mention it at the moment in case it doesn't come to fruition, but I will do a video on it if it does. So please keep an eye on this channel. If you like what I've done previously, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you will be informed if you click on the icon on the bell. You will receive notifications. So I'm going to finish this video now, but I've got some other locos that I want to put speakers in, and I'll see how I get on with them. But I won't film it because it'll be boring, won't it? But I will show you when I do them. Cheers everybody, cheers, and thanks for watching, and keep safe in these difficult times. Bye.